Welcome to Board Ghost, a story broadcast with games as the engine.
If living is a highway, then heaven is a bus stop. Been waiting for a minute there, but has it been forever? 'Cause dying don't agree with me, no.
We believe you're out there, hungry for stories for shared experience. We can't see you, can't hear you, yet we will play for you. This night's offering is a game of Last Fleet. Last Fleet is in beta. It's in a playtest mode by Josh Fox and Black Armada. They are the creators of Lovecraft-esque, and they currently had just recently had a Kickstarter for a game called Bite Me up online. Our humble players, myself, I'm going to be GMing or MCing this.
I like MC.
Yeah, it's still. I think the playtest set rules are still. They haven't figured out whether
MC
it's
Joho?
MC. It's
I
not
liked MC
always
Joho.
MC Joho. Yes, that is me, Mix Master John
Yeah,
on
Mix
the
Master.
mic. So
On the
I
ones
will.
and twos.
I'm John Holt, and I will be GMing.
I'm Ken Breese, and I will be playing.
And I'm Richard Ruane, and I will be playing.
All right, Richard.
Welcome,
back.
Richard.
We're not going to record a primer episode for this game because it's still in playtest, and we'll eventually release one when the game itself is released. So this is a Powered by the Apocalypse game. So if you want to check out Vincent D. Baker's Powered by the Apocalypse, you can kind of get a sense of what this game is based on. And there's some interesting mechanics that they're playing with to really evoke the harried and hurried sense of possible impending loss on a fleeing colony ship. So again, Black Armada Games made it, and Josh Fox has let us get our hands on it early.
Thanks, Josh.
Cool. So we're going to get into some questions to get us started here. So setting up our game before we play through scenes, we need to have an idea of what happened to leave our characters on the last ragtag fleet of human ships anywhere in the galaxy, who their enemy is, what the fleet is like, and who your characters are. We want to have enough traction to get playing through scenes without tripping over our lack of understanding. We can and should use flashbacks to flesh out more details if needed. The war before and after. So this is sort of the setting. I kind of have a base concept. There has been this sort of diaspora of humanity. And so there are these large colony ships that have spread out from the homeworld because it's inhabitable. Some of them are generational. Some are like frozen ships, like just cryo-lock with autopilot going and like a skeleton crew. At a certain point and with certain distance, they lose track of one another. And this is one of those fleets that is mostly popsicles on autopilot. They are awoken by an alarm. And there's maybe like a dozen of these massive ships with mostly frozen crew, and they just thaw out essential personnel as needed to fight these attacks. Instead of like Battlestar style piloting where you go out, maybe more like drones that are controlled via one pilot controls multiple with a virtual thing, but there's feedback issues and stuff that you have to be careful of.
Sure.
And in terms of attacker, I was kind of thinking that it was like not like another set of ships, but like a machine or energy, like temporal rifts open up and these things have been coming out and they're sort of dark shapes that start to attack. And sometimes the ships get pulled into these rifts on their own and might come back out. And there may or may not be issues after they come back out.
What is in the? Do we have any idea what's in the attackers? Or
So that's what I want to get into that too.
Yeah,
I like biological rather than purely mechanical.
Right?
Do we know?
Yeah. I mean, I guess let's see.
So I think we like this. I think the general.
I think
pitch
that
is great.
like some of the truths that they're laying out here, like human civilization has been destroyed.
Yeah.
In this premise, it's like you, as far as you know, you're.
We don't
it.
know.
Right.
Yeah, we're it. We don't know. We were frozen. Now we're unfrozen, and before our time, and we're under attack by these things coming through these rifts.
And why we left Earth could be related to these things. Initially, it was like temporal anomalies, like the planet itself being ripped apart by them, and then these things are like a newer phenomena from the rifts that have followed the ships. But it's sort of like, as far as you know, again, they want the humans wiped out. So what I was also thinking is that there are like the other sort of like weird thing that happens if like some ships go into like a rift or like kind of a rift opens around it, they like disappear and then return. Sometimes the people on that ship are not people that you know.
Oh,
wow.
So, and you don't know their motives or where they came from. Or they might be people you know, and they know the people that you don't know. So it creates confusion. And the things that are in the void, they could be techno-organic. Like they could be, as far as you know, they might just be giant amoeba or something. Yeah. And so far it's been smaller ships that have maybe dealt with this.
Yeah.
Like one ship so far has had this issue.
Yeah, that's maybe one ship I think is a good way to start with that.
And that was the inciting incident for the alarm.
The other thing that I've been drawing on here is, instead of drones, what if we did like Gundams? What if we did like mechs?
Mecha?
Yeah, so then it's one person going out in a mech. So they are out there. Have support personnel for the mechs. I mean, you could have support personnel for the you sort of get that feel where someone could be out there and something weird happens to them and then they come back.
Right.
I almost like it better if the ship has disappeared and hasn't reappeared yet. Something like that, maybe.
Sure.
And so there's these unknowns that are out there.
And in terms of like fleet structure, they kind of want you to figure out fleet structure a little bit. Okay. I'm thinking like there's like the capital ship of the fleet.
Yep.
It's the largest. Right. It may actually have like they all kind of carry the same number of popsicles on them, or whatever term you guys want to use for people who are in crisis or cryostasis. But it's the one that has the Gundam style giant robots.
Yep.
If there are any other sort of defenses, it's the warship. Yeah. Right. It's the capital ship of the fleet. Right. And then you have a series of like 5 more ships that are just primarily like their defense. They just kind of follow in the wake of this thing. Right.
Yeah, definitely. Where all the popsicles are.
Yeah.
Figure out a better name for that.
Well, whatever you guys want to call them, but like sort of like distinguishing. Like I was kind of saying, like the scenario that's happened prior to this, since you've woken up, has been you wake up, like you're kind of like shaken out of this thing. Yeah. I don't know if you guys are on the capital ship or wherever you want to be, but whatever ship you're on, a similar level of like crew activation has happened.
Yep.
It's just enough to like do some manual work and have some intercommunication, not just with the computer.
Yep.
To get the fleet moving. And we're going to assume like basically that these fleets are FTL capable, but each jump is like is a big setback and hits a lot of fuel and is dangerous for everyone involved. So
we haven't done it yet.
You haven't done it yet, but because of the danger and the risk of doing it, it requires a human decision.
At least one person on each ship has been awoken. On the capital ship, probably more.
A couple on each.
Yeah.
Like a captain and a lieutenant or something on each ship. And you guys, they're kind of saying like there's a significant military element to the fleet, from which many / maybe not all, but of the characters will be drawn. And you have pilot, or you have officer?
I did officer.
Okay, makes sense.
And you have
deck crew.
Okay, so pilots and deck crew. So yeah, like you guys would be within this rank. And I'm kind of thinking like corporate government structure. It's like UPS of the skies, like shipping people safely away.
Right.
But like you're the armed military force of this delivery unit that's arcing out to save space. And then again, that there are these infiltrators on one of the ships, that's this one ship that's returned, that could be human sympathizers, could be traitors, it could be mind controlled. You don't really know. They've stepped back from the other side.
Okay, so we are going with that the ship has come back already.
But when it does, that is, I'm just kind of saying like this is a transparent system where
maybe that's it. Maybe that's it. Is that the ship that disappeared? The person on that ship did that. Like it wasn't just we know that happened. Like that they were like, we could see that they're engaging different systems. like we're reading that's how they made that happen.
So there was someone awake
Someone,
on the other
someone
ship.
awoke on the other ship and made it just like flew it into the rift.
Temporal rift. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
So maybe that's it. Is that
Sure.
that something's been embedded in us, or whatever. That there's this concern. Maybe it's corporate espionage. Who knows, right? Like maybe who knows?
Right.
Like that. Yeah. Who knows?
Right.
But
Right.
The corporate the corporate contract that we're under has someone definitely violated their contract. Let's put it that way.
So here are kind of, again, these are questions we can answer. So what was human civilization like before this war, before this diaspora?
I think our civilization is pretty high tech since we have Gundams and faster than light travel.
High tech, maybe increasing social stratification. So there's.
Are we all one level of society, or are the population, the
I think
popsicles?
even in the military, I think there's some stratification.
Okay, got it. Cool.
Maybe too, like there are different strata or different people. You could afford to take this system's escape route versus
You got
you're
the
on
silver
you know,
pass.
You're on there. You're
Yeah.
on Ryanair of
Yeah.
space
Yeah.
travel.
You got the diamond
Right,
pass.
yeah,
you
yeah.
you only got bronze pass. All right, to the back.
Lands. And I mean, if it's got Gundam and these sort of advanced military things, this might be, and it's a cryo ship and not like a generational ship.
Yep.
Like it might be a little more advanced
Yep.
than
Yep.
like a little like upper middle class or upper class strata, right? Does that make
Right.
sense?
Of the population, and so that's cool. Okay, yeah, and then there's stratification amongst the crew that are woken up.
Right. Right.
And then what are the enemy like? Are they aliens, robots, demons? Do we even know at the start of the game
I don't
what
think
their
we
true
yeah,
nature
we
is? What's
don't
the
know.
aesthetic? I'm kind of saying like ship-wise, like almost like dark masses
Okay.
that maybe like crystalline masses.
I like that. I'm really interested for whatever reason in the Tyranids from Warhammer 40K right now.
Yeah.
Like that xenomorph, sort of like alien, like really disgusting bio alien shit.
Right. What were those dark ships in Bab 5 that were just like they just sort of appeared, but you weren't really sure you were seeing them because they were almost the same color as the sky
Right.
behind them.
That's cool. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
So they're all like matte black. Type.
Right. It's like like you basically they're coming because of the edges of the rifts.
Yes.
Right.
And that's kind of
That's it.
Yeah.
And so the Gundam goes out, and so the Gundam pilots are the only ones who have seen these things up close.
Right.
Is that right?
Right.
Yeah. What is the fleet like? Is there just one bit? We talked about
And
this a
that's
little bit.
super classified. No one knows.
Right. It's the fact that no one knows is super classified.
Yeah.
So we kind of said there's like a capital ship and then a bunch of like maybe 5 or 6 smaller ships of
That's right.
about the same size.
That's right.
Who runs the fleet? Is it exclusively a military operation, or is there civilian authority as well? And what is the nature of that civilian authority, if there is one?
I like the idea that we're pushing on this military arm of the corporation. So the military is running. It's the
Right.
the military is in charge.
And
I
in
mean,
fact, there aren't very many civilians
yeah,
awake.
exactly.
Yeah. I feel like there may be sort of a stress between the military, who sort of operates actually for the people in a sense, even though they're military and not elected.
Mm-hmm.
There's no government bureaucracy, so it's really military and corporation.
Yeah.
But there might be like a
There's-
CEO
There's a
or
compliance officer that has been
Yeah.
thought out, like
Yeah,
a corporate
yeah.
compliance officer
something
or
as part
something
of like
that.
a central crew.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
a lot like the old Soviet political officers.
Yeah.
Those calculations of like P&L come into play, like
Mhm.
what's our profit loss ratio? The
Yeah.
computer's going to give you that. Like it's not success rate of the mission, or
Right.
like
Right.
it's like if we jettison this, we'll
Yeah.
save more money.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. Any other details? I think that's pretty cool. I was thinking these ships are just kind of big and blocky, like space UPS trucks.
Mm-hmm.
We'll introduce our characters and then we can talk about relationship questions. So, Ken, why don't you start? Who is your character?
Sure. So I grabbed the Scorpio playbook, which is something's wrong. Maybe you wake up from a bad dream only to find out that things you did weren't a fantasy after all. Something is not going great with my character. They might in fact be a traitor. Who knows? Unbeknownst to them, I am playing as Tank Hernandez. He, him. Tank is a deck crewman. He's deck crew, a mechanic, an engineer who works on the Gundam. He's stocky and built. muscular. He wears overalls with the top rolled down, and he has like his A-frame T-shirt on. He has a broken nose and a shaved head. He's sweaty and oily and charismatic.
Richard, who do you got going on?
So I am the Aquarius. You're as sharp as they come. You see through the lies and deceit that riddle the fleet, and you'll expose them all. And I am Jake Oxnard, an officer. I have personnel or semi-medical role. He's kind of thin and wiry, mousy looking, constantly just making demands and asking questions, but not afraid, short, but not afraid to get up in people's faces. So
We'll go to questions. So we have to ask at least a couple of these and flesh out each one a little. So once we have that answer, you can either let a PC answer it or create an NPC and have them be the answer. Why don't we start with you, Ken? What's a question on one of your relationship things here?
Whose doubts have I allayed? For now. So it's a skeleton crew. There aren't that many people. I think that there's probably another engineer who called me out on effectively a sabotage that I was doing to the Gundam. And I played it off like my brains were scrambled and I just had forgotten something. And I played it off as a human error, like I'm so tired, mistake type of thing. This person will be called Jalika.
Richard, what's a question you'd like to answer?
who comes to me for advice? I think I'd like to do an NPC. Not an XO, but somebody else who's a bridge officer.
Do like an engineering, like the person who's taking care of like the actual engines of the ship.
Yeah, I think the navigation officer or the chief navigator comes to me for advice about issues surrounding people. The chief navigator's name is Unity, and they are very non-binary, very intellectual, and very sort of lost in their own head with the numbers.
What do they come to you for advice? More social matters, or?
I think they have a fairly sizable staff of navigation, largely because nobody can be awake for too long.
Right.
It's all related to personnel, and I think I'm going to take the rank advocate, kind of military position.
Ken, what about you? What's another question you'd like to answer?
Who is closest to me? I'm kind of into Jake being the closest.
Oh,
person
yeah,
to me.
yeah.
My character is bisexual, so maybe we have an intimate relationship.
Right.
You could also be like ice mates, like you're
also
from the
be
same pod,
From the same
Right.
class,
We're woken up at the same time.
same bunk. Too.
Yeah, I mean, we went through. We were the same cohort. We came to basic, corporate training the same day. We're like, have gone through everything together.
We got dispatched from the military
Yeah.
to the corporation
Yeah,
on this mission.
yeah. Is that what we want to do? Some more like close work friends? Are you my work husband?
Maybe we bang for emotional relief.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Part of getting in was getting our families on,
Okay.
which may include all sorts of other intimate relationships
Yes.
of all sort of different
Definitely.
types, but they don't get to wake up.
No, they are not awake right now.
They're not awake.
They're
So
not awake.
we occasionally get drunk and screw.
Totally.
And Richard, would you like to answer another question?
Who do I suspect is up to no good? And I think that is Jalika.
That makes sense. A lot of weird shit happening with the Gundams.
Well, and
Strangely.
there's a lot of weird shit, and she's got her eye on you,
Mm-hmm.
which raises my suspicion, despite my normally being able to see through bullshit.
So, Ken, what is the name of the captain of this? I'm going to call it Transstellar Industries fleet.
Captain Kim.
Pronouns?
She, her.
And Richard, what is the name of the computer that everyone talks to in the system, the AI?
Verity.
Verity?
Verity.
Green or truth?
Truth.
Okay. Shortages are something that is important here. I'm going to keep it pretty simple right now and say that the real shortage is staff.
Got it.
That they're
We don't
just
have enough people to do
you are
everything.
on constant watch, so people are just getting worn down. So I'm gonna do this. Will be our start of session move.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. So let's see. This is noting that this is an opportunity to catch the enemy off guard or to gain resources or choice of such missions. So I'll set up this first scene, and then maybe we can take turns kind of setting scenes
Great.
from there,
Love it.
right? It's been quiet. You're too tired for even to say too quiet. Any quiet is good quiet at this point. The other ship hasn't returned. The missing ship hasn't returned to the fleet, and the mystery of what happened to this ship and why it left has gone cold. You have potentially time to explore it, time to look into it, and maybe gain a little insight into what happened. Because, again, you haven't been attacked for a while. If you wanted to take the opportunity, this would be your chance to dig into the mystery a little bit, to gain some insight. And that could lead, if you're successful, to maybe getting closer to figuring out this mystery of what's been happening, what happened to the ship, and what potential harm the other ships could be in.
Everything. I mean, no communications, no nothing. We have no motive for these creatures or these entities, nothing.
The question would be, why would either or both of you be tasked with or be interested in?
It's pretty clear that we're low staff. So from a technical perspective, my character's tank has been brought in because we just don't have anyone else with sort of the engineering experience or skills.
I would also propose and throw this out there that Jake, as an advocate, might be brought on as well to look for any sort of psychological, like reviewing the tapes, the black boxes, or whatever it is, the last bit of
All signals, all intelligence.
right. Like you can look at that and try to suss out the motive.
Right. So
Right.
you've got
This
like
action.
the recordings of what they were saying and like
Yeah, and I
stuff
think there's
that.
like some
Right.
video because again the computer's
Video,
networked
yeah,
and it has in
video,
its
cool.
in its
Yeah.
systems all the information until that thing blinked out.
Are we at technology level like we're like watching like a holodeck, like playing this out and we can like walk amongst it, or is it more
I
like
think
a
I think it would be like, yeah, you do that, but it's like that green point of light
Right,
kind of
okay,
thing,
yeah,
and it's
okay.
more like you have a projector,
right,
like it's a hollow
Right,
projector.
right.
So you're kind of like walking in like your bunk, for instance,
right.
Right.
kind of watching this thing
Got
play
it.
out.
Or just a deck. Just
Yeah,
like a
watching,
yeah, like like a quiet,
Yeah.
like
you-
there's storage crap everywhere.
right.
Mhm.
I mean, you could even be like in and amongst the popsicles, like
Yeah.
Or
I think
whatever you
that
call it.
like I mean it was just or seeds or food or whatever is there.
I like the idea that the popsicles are just randomly in different places
just cram
with
as
some
many in.
seeds.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Next
have
to the
like
bags
we
of
have
seeds,
we
there's
have
some
pods
pops,
for
some pods,
well I mean,
pop pods.
we're on the capital ship,
We are,
so
we
like
are.
most
Mostly crew.
everything here is military and operate.
Yeah.
So there's just there's just Marines stacked like cordwood in pods,
Yeah.
ready to be sort of like snapped out, and they may get cycled through
At some point.
Like
maybe they will.
everybody has to like wake up and do some tours or do some hours.
Depends on what kind of contract they signed.
Yeah, right.
You guys can fire this hollow up, and it'll,
Yeah.
how many times have you watched this thing by now?
So, and we're buddies too. So, I mean, it's something that a project that maybe we've
Mm-hmm.
been working on together. What?
Yeah, no,
And
yeah.
and like a reason for us to get away from time to time as needed.
I was woken up to do this, and as soon as I wanted an expert, I
Right.
woke you up. Unfortunately, maybe like Jalika is on rotation right now,
Yeah.
so she's on her normal wake up
Yeah.
rotation.
Yeah. So this is off rotation for us. So we're a
So
little
we've
tired.
been out of the freezer for at least a day, I would guess.
Oh yeah. if
At
not
least
longer.
probably, yeah. So I think I woke you up and detailed you just to review this data with me. I do printouts in addition to all the holographic data. I
Right.
do a lot of pinup
Okay.
printouts.
Cool. So we
Yeah.
do have like a little storage closet where we're pinning up reports and pictures.
I think we're just sort of in a bunch of crates.
okay in a bunch.
Like
of
it's just
crates.
like the crates are stacked in such a way that like,
it's
we've-
like some walls effectively.
yeah, we've effectively got some walls
Okay.
and we have the projector set up.
Yep.
Is anybody else with us?
I think it's just the two
Just
of
the two
you
of us.
kind of going through this
Yeah.
stuff. I mean,
Right.
in fact, I would say the only other presence in the room that's sort of been weighing on you,
Mm-hmm.
you're getting your head inside this person, is the ship captain of the missing ship. What's the name of that ship, Ken? Transstellar Industries. What's the name of that ship?
would be Titan.
The ship captain of Titan, the one who was for some reason awake before anyone else was awake,
Right.
and the one who's on the hollows on the
Yep.
readouts on. He's the one whose motions you're trying to suss
Mm-hmm.
out. Is this guy Judo Sykes?
Nice. I swear, I thought that we were friends. I thought that us being friends meant that you'd get me into good duty, not duty that would take me out of sleep. Like
Do you want me to put you back? to
No, of course not. I was having a really weird dream too. Like I've been just having these weird nightmares. I don't know. So no, I think I can. I'd rather focus on this. I'm awake. I'm awake. All right. Did you bring some of the coffee? Did you find any?
I think I hand you kind of a soy calf.
There are perks to being friends with an officer.
Yeah, and I just start like kind of going through the data. Like again, I think we did this all
Yeah.
yesterday, including the
Yeah.
conversation about the coffee. And I'm just like, you know that you're not supposed to dream in cryo sleep.
What?
I mean, you dream when you go in before they drop your body temperature, and then you dream as you come out a little bit, but you're not supposed to be having like vivid dreams in cryo sleep. That's not normal. But anyway,
I would like to try and cover that up if I can.
Oh,
Just
okay.
Being like, oh yeah. I mean, it wasn't in cryo sleep itself. It was yeah. As I was coming out, there were these weird sort of flashes. I don't know. Nope.
You fumble on, and
Yep.
Richard, I think that they fool you, but you file this away. You're a good sense of character, right?
Right. Yeah, I think my impression is like there's something wrong with sort of the cryo sleep pattern they're putting you in.
Right. And it's the company's fault.
Yeah, it's the company's fault, or it's medics' fault.
Mm-hmm.
Every time people rotate in and out, there's also medics who get rotated in and out to like make sure everybody's going down and up at the same time correctly. I lay out the pattern that brought Judo back up. Like that ship is not. I mean, Titan, despite its name, is just a cargo ship, and there's just tons and tons of pods, and tons of food, and tons of equipment and supplies. But it should not need more than one person on the bridge, and they can spend most of their time in just sleep, because it's a fucking boring assignment. I mean,
Jake, from a technical perspective, it's very clear they did everything they needed to do to get themselves into this rift. It's almost like they knew exactly where it was going to be appearing. They had rerouted power. They had put on different dampers. It's interesting to me that they changed the gravity inside of Titan as well for some reason. It seemed almost like they were preparing it for something, or I don't know.
right. They had already veered off the trajectory into the vicinity of the rift before the rift even manifested.
Yeah, that's right. That's weird.
And the captain had come out of cryosleep off schedule, relieved the second officer, did not follow proper companionship procedure for somebody being up and awake, put also the medical officer on duty,
I mean, yeah.
back to sleep. And
It's like, what kind of weird behavior were they doing? Have you been able to find anything like out of the ordinary?
I mean, the whole personnel file is pretty straight up. I mean, they were military. They got dispatched to the corporation about the same time we did. Captain Sykes. And here I think I'm just kind of pulling up a set of images of military records. Insanely boring U.S. Navy records. Just like standard.
Navy guys, geez, they're always wild. And I sort of move forward and put my hand on Jake's shoulder as I'm like looking over his sort of shoulder at this list. I'm drinking my soy calf, and I like to reach out to Jake, share something with him.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
I got a 7, but because I'm a Scorpio, I use smooth, so that's a 9.
Okay.
in total. Put my hand on his shoulder,
So choose. Yeah. What do you want to?
and then I put my sword cuff down, and then move over and start massaging his shoulders, saying, "You are so tense."
So actually, Richard, you're going to roll on this one.
Okay.
So basically, how do you respond to this? Positively or not?
Yeah, I think I sort of lean back into like the pressure on my shoulders, since I hate taking muscle relaxers when I come out of cryo sleep. So I only take the minimal dose just to warm myself up. And it's
Just
supposed to be like
little
2 days of like,
kickstart.
yeah. Well, also, I'm on duty, so
What kind of roll is this?
It's a plus warm.
yeah.
Just a warm
simple.
roll. Warm roll. Mm.
Okay, so you just get there's no
there's no add.
pressure right
Oh,
now,
there's no
so you're just gonna your relationship is gonna go up for both of you.
Okay.
Oh, so it goes up to 1. Is that
Mhm.
right? I laugh as I say, your muscles are harder than the Gundam wings and the mech wings. You really need to loosen up.
As you go, like I'm like doing the nonverbal thing where I indicate where the knot that I want you to work
Yeah.
on. And then I'm like, and then no companion up with him against regs. No, cycling off the previous shift against schedule, against regs.
Something's really wrong here.
Yeah,
Something's
you
really
open
wrong
your
here.
eyes kind of out of relaxation as you're saying this, and that's like the cycle of this hollow is ticking over again, and it's starting to play through, and you're in a relaxed state, and you're really, you have a different perspective. You're looking at this thing like it's like taking a deep breath, and now you're
Right.
standing at it with like a slightly different view.
And Tank is just looking at it like Tank seems so consumed with the image,
Yeah.
almost like they've seen this before or something like that. Like they've seen it in a dream or something like that.
You are watching this thing, and early in the cycle, there's something you didn't notice.
Mm-hmm.
You've been watching his hands. You've been watching every like maneuver that Sykes had made as they adjusted the controls, and you were watching the readouts as the computer is saying that the rift gets closer. What you hadn't really looked at his face in that, like in those moments, those early moments when his hands are doing the most mechanical work. That was what the focus had been. And now you see that he's talking. His mouth is moving. And for like the briefest moment, you see him look kind of off to the side into a blind spot and smile. But again, his hands are in like rapid motion, setting up these manual controls, turning off the autopilot, overriding systems. It turns back just as, again, the feed ends and interrupts, but you recognize that there was someone else awake on the ship that the computer couldn't see and doesn't have biometrics on, meaning that they aren't of the ship.
So it was a 10 plus. So what else do I get? Could I get data on shifts in his sort of data input stream or before he woke up? So changes in
Yeah, so
vitals
this
that
opens
happen.
up like a brand new set of inquiries,
Yeah.
right? You've been drilling in and in and in, like why was he up? What's the data? All this stuff, but you hadn't gone back in the logs, and you do some simple like just anomaly reads. Like, was there anything going on prior to this? Verity starts spitting out some data,
Verity.
and you notice like just a ping, like a little spike, a little bit of motion in, I'd say, a good week before the incident. Something that, normally like would barely trip a sensor, but you compare it to all the other ships in the fleet, no one else registered this blip at that time.
Does it show up on anybody else's monitoring feed from that ship as well? Or is that unique to the captain's feed?
You just kind of flip through some log stuff, like you're kind of looking at in and around the capsule for Sykes, right? Like he's pretty far back for crew. His pod wasn't very close to deck for a captain. You get in on it and you see that at that moment there's like what you guys have been calling rift light crackled within like the periphery of the cameras on the ship, like within that what could be perceived, and somewhere in the shadows there may be a figure. It's hard to discern. Again, it's sort of like this green hollow kind of like, it's like a CRT monitor in 3 dimensions, but
Yeah, it's hard.
definitely there's a humanoid shape.
Jake, what is it? What is it?
Just keep going, just right there, down below the shoulder blade. That level of pressure, exactly.
I can tell you've figured something out. You have that
Hey.
excited look in your eye.
Hey,
I've seen it
Verity?
before.
I think that's a good scene end.
Yeah.
Okay. So end of a scene. So we're going to see if any of these trackers triggered. Did anyone act against the interest of the fleet or otherwise leave their reliability open to question? I don't think so. Did anyone suffer a significant blow, like social, emotional, or physical? Do something exhausting? Do a truly daunting task? Or have to do something horrible? No. Did the fleet, its people, or resources take a blow? I don't think so. And did the fleet gain new resources or skilled people? No. And let's see, was there a publicly visible event which was unsettling, scary, or indicative that the fleet is losing? No. And I think we're doing kind of good. And was the scene a major turning point, which would change momentum?
I mean, yes, the fact that there's rift lights, the fact that there's someone else on the deck there, like the mystery has deepened and definitely become much more scary. Like,
Rifts can be personal size.
yeah, rifts
is
can be personal
huge.
size is huge. Yeah.
So would that be, I guess the question is like, it's knowledge, but you don't have a solution.
That's
So
true.
is it a net like plus minus? Like, is it, yes, there's a turning point, but is this going to, like, you're the ones who know it. We can even say within this whether you share this
I
information
think we
out.
would get shared out,
right?
yes. Yeah.
Well, I think, yeah. I think Verity learns, and that means
Yeah.
anybody
That
with a
means that,
feed from
like-
Verity.
Kim is alerted and
Right.
Yeah. I mean, these are going to reports then to Kim probably. I'm okay to move it down to a -1. I mean,
Yeah, because this
it
is,
seems like things have gotten harder, not easier.
yeah,
Sure.
things have gotten way more complicated. I'm certainly having Verity go through all visual data to look for something, which is going to take it's a time query. That's not something that even Verity can do
okay.
while continuing to operate at the level they must. Every bit of video,
Exactly.
on every bit of video you've
over
recorded
the
for the
last
past
100 years.
Yeah, 100 years.
if not more.
Ken, let's start with you. What's the next scene in terms of like who's there and what's
Okay.
happening? And if
I-
you have questions about stuff, we'll fill it
I think
in.
I think the next scene is action. The Gundam mechs are being prepared. The alarms are sounding. Rift light is appearing. It's on. It's straight up on. And
Battle stations.
battle
Yep.
stations. I am with Jalika. We are preparing the mech that we work on. What's the name of the mech that we work on?
This one's Kenner.
Yeah.
It's like Kenner, Hasbro.
Of course. The
They're-
Mattel.
Oh God, yeah.
I got
Mattel.
you. We're on the Kenner mech. Jalika and I are working on it together, are getting it, preparing it, and we have to do this stuff really quickly.
Yep.
We're in the shit right now.
Yep. And the pilots are physical pilots, right?
Yeah,
You're saying? So
exactly. They're getting loaded in,
they're and like jacked
strapped in,
into
jacked
this thing
in.
too.
Exactly.
Yep.
There may be some sort of neural net
Yep.
that's being jacked into. Like they're almost like cyborgs themselves.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like they're melding with these sort of mechs to be able
Right.
to go out there and do what
In
they
fact,
need to
like
do.
their musculature may even be atrophied.
That's cool. Yeah, definitely.
Like it's all about like
Yeah, it's all about their mental prowess
Right.
and being able to control these things.
so they're like lifted. They're like
yeah, exactly.
medical technicians that like lift and
Yeah. They like live some part of their lives in these like back to tank
Right.
pod states, basically,
Richard, what is the like term they use for these pilots?
because they're very lauded. Like these people are like saving our society. Like these are heroes, effectively, in so many ways.
I think they're puppeteers.
Puppeteers. That's a great way to think about it. Interesting.
Yeah, because they have to be physically small to begin with.
Yeah, so this one is his name's Henson. That's his call sign. Henson rides in Kenner. Yeah, they're loading him in. And in fact, once they've jacked him in is when he can speak through
Kenner.
Through Kenner.
We only got about 30 seconds before we have to launch.
When are you going to get me out there?
Just calm down, Kenner. Hanson. Tough to tell you two apart sometimes.
Jalika scowls at you. Just get on the job. Let's get this done. They need us out there.
And like
Mattel's already on the front lines.
I'm like, there's like a weird sort of heat that's on me, and I'm like starting to sweat. I'm oiled already. I'm so sweaty and oily already. But like now it's like a perspiration on my forehead, and like I'm like having trouble catching my breath as I'm like having this very intense deja vu. Like I've done this before.
Yeah, I'm gonna have you this roll with plus sharp on this.
All right. With plus will be a 10.
Okay. Even within this state, your
Muscle
hands,
memory.
Yeah, you're just going. You're
Yep.
going. In fact, maybe
I'm
this
professional.
overlaid state speeds you up in your task. In fact, you kind of nudge Shalika out of the way, and
Yeah.
she's like, "The hell!" And you're
I
just
got this.
you're on fire. Before you know it, your trellis is being pulled back. Jalika goes, "What got into you up there?"
What can I say? When I feel the flow, I have to go through it. I don't know. It's almost like we've done this so many times. You trained for this so many times. I think that must have been my best time ever, right? Sorry about knocking you out of the way. What can I say? I just want them out there. I want all this over. I want those creatures destroyed. What I'm saying is almost not what I mean. Like maybe I'm more interested in to find out more about them or curious about them. Gotta cover up.
Yeah, you want to try covering something
Yeah,
up?
try
Is that?
cover
Yeah,
up.
sounds good.
Cover up. Ooh,
Okay.
probably not. Cover up.
Yeah,
You
so-
use smooth. So yeah, it's still definitely not gonna do it.
She's like, "What if?" No, she grabs you by the coveralls. No joke. What did you do?
I'm like trying to shake this off. As I'm like, what can I say? I just sort of, it's like sort of like Mozart, you know? I just sort of felt it flowing through me. And as
She just with a disgusted look on her face.
it's
She
actually a
pushes you
9.
back.
I guess I have a negative actually.
Yeah,
on it,
it's
so a 9.
she pushes you back, and you're knocked against the edge of the trellis, looking down into space as the last ship as
Shot out
Hasbro
the-
gets shot out the bottom. I'm gonna say that'll be the scene end.
Yeah.
But you watch from the bridge as this pitched battle goes down. There are these crystalline, almost black on black. You almost see them because the stars aren't there where
Yeah.
they are,
Yeah.
and occasionally the flash of light or where they cross in
Yeah.
front of another explosion or
I'm
something.
getting the sense that they're like crustaceans, like spines instead of
yeah,
tentacles.
it's kind of
like
hard to read. Yeah,
Yeah, like
and they're
less kinetic, more like fixed sort of points.
Yeah, and their missiles, they aren't like chemical or
Right,
explosive.
yeah.
They're almost like they just kind of impact.
Yeah.
And it's much more like concussive force
Yes.
that they're
Force
doing.
damage.
You watch as Hasbro and Mattel just shatter a handful of these things, but in making this opening, they leave Kenner a little bit in the wind.
Uh-oh.
So I'm gonna roll. It looks like Kenner's not able to get a shot off, like something is jammed. But last minute, they brush off some chitinous shell that
Right.
had like jammed in a joint, and they at that last moment are blasted back by their own shot
Right.
that bursts a handful of these ships and
Shreds their arm.
shreds those things, and the rift light starts to close again, and silence reigns.
Scene.
Did someone act against the interests of the fleet or otherwise leave their reliability open to question?
Yes.
Yes. So you're going to
That
get a
was me.
social condition.
That was me.
I don't think she thinks you're a traitor. She already
suspicious.
she's suspicious of you already, but maybe that there's
I'm breaking corporate protocols or something like that. Like I'm not in
like a level of
compliance.
incompetent or like
Yeah.
non-compliance.
Yeah, non-compliance.
Where like there's a question to whether it's like willfully non-compliant
Yep.
and just being but wherever it comes down, it's a question of your abilities in terms of your like whether you're just lazy
Right.
or inconsistent
Yeah.
and whether that's intentional or not.
Right.
And she leans a little more towards intentionally non-compliant
Right.
and potentially destructive for that.
I'm a lazy grease monkey.
Right. And she is not happy about that.
Not happy about my lazy grease.
You're
Does
a
my
little bit of a
relationship level with
cowboy.
her change? -1 or something?
Yeah, let's do a -1 on that.
What'd you say there, Richard?
You're a little bit of a cowboy.
I'm a
You're
little
kind of
bit.
doing things your own way and
I'm-
screwing things
I'm
up.
A bit of flaneur.
Yeah.
And it's sort of like that condition is she's going to spread that around.
Spread that around. The other
But-
deck officers and deck crew.
So you may kind of have a
I have a little
-1
rep.
with.
Yeah, I have a little rep with the deck crew that I'm.
Trying to do stuff. So Advocate Oxnard, where are you? Who's with you? What's happening right now? And I can help with prompts and move along. We've just had a pitched battle. I'm going to say that again, the staffing shortage, your respite is over. The sort of quiet moment is done, and it's back to hard, long shifts
Okay.
with not much rest in between.
I don't go back down until this gets resolved.
Yeah.
Especially since I have open queries with Verity.
All right.
Verity is supposed to be completely this objective AI thing, but
correct.
gets temperamental if people go under long term with a query open. With more people awake, Verity has more to do. So the query is now, it was already a huge query.
Right.
Examine every bit of video data for the last 100 years, working backward on all ships in the cluster. So the query is already weird and difficult. And with more people awake, it's taking longer. I think I've gotten chewed out for using up system resources.
Mm.
Okay. Is this Kim or is this going to be the compliance officer and Kim, with Kim sort of scowling in the background?
Wait, the compliance officer is named Kim as well?
Well, no. We'll find a name for this
Oh, yeah.
compliance
Yeah.
officer, but
and Kim. Got it.
but Kim, she is there too, and she's kind of not happy to see someone dressed down who's she's given you this task, and you may have made headway.
Right. So yeah, I think there's a corporate compliance officer.
Let's call him Ansel.
Ansel?
Yeah. And he's just buttoned up, super uptight, he's one, like everyone else is in like jump coveralls, and he's in what was fashion when you left Earth, which is this, like, it's a similar jumpsuit, but it's like a clear plastic. And so you can just see his like perfectly trim body on full display in this clear jumpsuit.
This whole meeting, Ansel is on like luxury ship, corporate person. He knows where his family, that's one of our things is like, we don't want to, they don't want us to get like overprotective of any one ship. So they don't tell us,
Yeah, they don't
they
tell
don't
us
tell
where
us
our
where
family is. That's
they
so
don't tell us where
fucked
they've
up.
stacked our
In
people.
which ship too? Yeah.
Yeah. So they don't tell us where our people are. They make us believe they've been deliberately separated. He's on with his whole family in sort of HQ, which is a separate ship from the capital ship.
Mm-hmm.
Clearly nice.
Yeah.
It's clearly nice. Like they have like a whole nice holodeck of nice backgrounds, and
It's attached to the capital ship though, so it can
detach.
so it's like as close as possible to safety, the safest, most prickly weapony thing, but can detach for its own protection when needed.
right. It may be flying between the capital ship and the two defense ordnance ships that don't have the fighter pilot drops, but don't have the mech drops, but have like heavy ordnance ships, so that it can attach itself to anything that will likely get it out safe, but also not let undesirables on board.
Mm-hmm.
So many.
There's so many basic
All
people.
frozen.
Well, even rotating in and out.
That's true.
Even in a corporate staff, there's a lot of low rank people.
So tell me, right off the bat, how did an advocate get access to enough bandwidth to slow down our holo screening? We were enjoying pleasant entertainment, and to know that there's enough draw on the system when we're under attack that our streaming quality would be reduced. I mean, I'm aghast.
And I'm trying
Kim,
to like
I
stand
am
where
aghast.
my comm headset is, because I have to go through comm headset.
Mm.
I'm just a picture to him. I don't get to actually be seen
Be
talking.
hollow, yeah.
I'm trying to stand where if the video feed comes on, because that's in his control, like you aren't visible in the background. So like we're in this super tiny
Oh, I'm there. Okay.
like bunk room, and I'm just getting shoot out. Like the captain's in one corner of the screen.
Right. She's up on the bridge, and you can.
So you don't have any pants on right now? You just basically have like your
Like,
dress shirt on, and you're like sitting in a chair.
No, I think I pulled on like a tank top. I started to put on a jumpsuit.
Yeah. And I'm still in bed, sort of like waking up, like, oh, what's happening?
And Captain Kim's monitor is muted. It's like clearly noted as muted, but you can hear her teeth grinding just by seeing, one, because you're an observant advocate, but two, because she is not happy about this situation, and you don't know if it's on you or on the fact that she's having to deal with bureaucracy.
And I just rattle off a regulation number. And I say, under that regulation, advocates who have been given authority over an inquiry have broad requisition powers for Verity's processing time, except under attack when the processing time was stopped and surrendered back to the general functions of the ship. Call Ansel.
Call him on this shit.
Call him on it?
Yeah, I'm
Sure.
just like, maybe if your entire fucking family was not awake at the same moment just so you could watch The Sound of Music for the 15th time in a month,
Nice.
we wouldn't have limits on our processing time anyway. Yeah, wow. No matter how good I get, that's going to be a bad one.
Kim unmutes.
And in the background, I'm like, yeah, ain't in the ass.
Already has been yelling before she unmuted. Advocate, shut it down now. You don't speak back to compliance. This is insubordination. Ansel closes her comm and leans in to you. What do you think you're going to gain from this? Here's how this is going to go down. You rattled off a regulation number, but we're under wartime. And in wartime, compliance is king. Well, let's see. Things just aren't going to go well for you. I think you're going to gain a pressure from this.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Right? Your feed is muted, so no matter what you say back to this guy, nothing great. So you're up at one pressure now. I'm gonna give you a social condition as well, because Kim is not happy with
Did
you.
I ever get a social condition?
Yeah, you got one from Jalika.
Oh, I just don't know.
Well,
what it
actually,
is.
we'll resolve that after. But for right now, you are fuming. You cannot you can't get this out. How angry you are at this person, and you were in the right. Like, you have information that's important, and
Incredibly
they
important.
just quash that, and so it's that your chest is heavy with that, and they dress you down and sign off.
I finished putting on the jumpsuit and I just stormed the fuck out. And it's really just makeshift quarters. Like, it's a closet so that we can have some vague sense of privacy.
Yeah.
All right. So let's go to scene end question marks. Let's see. Did someone act against the interests of the fleet or otherwise leave their viability open? Question. Let's see. Did someone suffer a significant blow, like social, emotional, or physical?
I did.
You marked pressure for that. So that's
Yeah.
what we'll do. We'll say you marked pressure for that. Did the fleet, its people, or resources take a blow?
I feel like yes, because the investigation, which is really essential,
Well,
the integrity of the investigation
shut
has,
down.
yeah,
The
it's
investigation
shut down,
officially shut down.
not shut down, but I'm getting fewer resources. Like it's
I mean, the
it's
captain
now.
said shut it down, right?
Oh, I think she was talking to me.
Oh, okay,
Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
You're just,
okay,
I think she was talking to
cool.
me, shutting things down.
okay.
Like,
we're closing the book on
Got
this
it, got it,
because,
oh,
I mean, the investigation and the information's out there,
mhm.
and they can still act on it, but
Yeah, they
but
shut
it
the
hasn't found
investigation
anything
down.
yet.
it's you may not be part of the inquiry anymore.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which is a challenge.
Officially.
Because you were the one who broke it and may have insight. Was there a publicly visible event which was unsettling, scary, or indicative that the fleet is losing? Nah.
No.
And was the scene a major turning point? Not really. It was bad news for your character, but I think in the overall arc, we're in a good spot. So I'll set this one up. You are both in your quarters when the alarm sounded. You hustle to the port to see what this alarm is about, and there's a crackle of energy as the rift lights are opening.
Ah! Outside the ship?
Outside of the ship, and
It's almost like I remember this, like I was just dreaming about this, like I've been drawn to this for some reason.
the ship Titan returns.
Ah!
Is back amongst the fleet.
Holy shit.
And the rift lights crackle and race and edge along the length of it and dissipate and are gone.
Holy shit.
And you both are standing kind of looking out this side port at Titan, which is right relatively close to you, kind of between you and the next set of ships is now this lost one. What do you do?
Where are we exactly? Are we on the bridge?
You guys are you're just on your deck.
We're on our deck.
Yep. At a viewport.
I should get to the bridge.
I go to my battle station.
In fact, as you turn to run to battle station, Jalika runs past you towards the bridge and is like, "Where do you think you're going? Follow me." And is racing towards the bridge
and I do.
with Jake already a bit ahead of you.
Oh, there's Jake.
Mm-hmm. When you reach the bridge, and you moments later, Kim is there staring out into space. Everyone else is like, up and looking out. In fact, Ansel is there on the bridge.
Yeah, the entire crew that's awake is on the bridge.
The entire
right now.
crew that's awake is there. Ansel is there, and the captain has not turned to address anyone. Everyone is at attention. And you
Right.
both, as Jalika comes in next to you, snaps into attention, and you follow shortly
And I do
thereafter.
snap into attention.
And Kim turns around. We don't know where they've been. We don't know what's on that ship. Until someone tells me otherwise, I'm not going to allow Verity to reconnect with the computer on that ship. From basic scans, there are a couple people on the bridge active, popsicles in place, energy running smoothly, no sign of crystal critters, none of that. Ansel here wants me to go in hard. And she shoots you a glance as she says to Ansel, turning to him, "Unfortunately, our investigation has been slowed down, or else we may be in a better position to know what we're going into. I need volunteers."
I step forward, Tank steps forward, saying, this is a chance. We got to get over there and get more information about this.
I'm going to have you roll. Sure, let's do it. Let's do reach out.
Reach out.
And because of your condition, like this is plus smooth for you, right? When
It
you reach
is.
out? So it's going to be there will be a -1 because Jalika
right.
is there sort of running a little interference.
but
We'll see how that goes.
I have Jake there too. So with my +2 -1 is +1, giving me a 10.
Okay. Jalika actually steps up to deride you and
Yeah.
almost put a hand on you. And her stepping up, Kim is like, "That's 2 already," before Jalika can even say anything. And so she's like,
I look at her and give her a smile.
"Anyone else?
Subtle.
Anyone else on this?"
I'll take it.
That's when Ansel steps forward in front of the captain, between you and the captain, and goes, I don't think so. I don't think we're going to be sending any. I don't think we're going to be sending anyone like you on this mission.
I think unless you want to send somebody else through the fucking wake-up program, you have one advocate capable of leading an investigation.
Can I support?
Yeah, you can support. So how are you supporting?
I speak up saying, God damn it, Ansel. This is the best advocate. This is the best person that we have on here to even recognize other nature and other beings.
Okay, so
You
start.
don't have a degree in psychology, let alone 5.
Do you want to add any pressure to your role?
I will. I
Okay.
will take a pressure.
Okay. So
I'll take 2. I'll take
okay.
plus
So you got
2.
a +2, and this is plus warm.
plus 1, which I'm at -1 for.
Okay, so this is a +1.
+1 gives me a 9.
Okay. So that's going to give you a +1 on your roll.
So I'm also going to do 2 pressure.
Okay.
Ooh.
I'm just going to fix him with a stare and go, yeah, when we need an accountant, I'll be sure to send everything over to you.
Yeah, and the reason why this is pressure is you guys are you're breaking chain of command.
Oh, yeah, big time.
This is a
Yeah.
big deal, especially in like a stratified society.
Yeah.
Mhm.
This guy is, I mean, he's like an admiral on, as far as this corporation's
Effectively,
combined, right? So,
Or maybe more like a politician on
Yeah.
like a member of Congress.
so
on-
what's your plus hard?
1, I've added 2 pressure and I have +1.
So you
from
have
the
a plus
support.
4.
Or whatever you roll.
Oh,
Pretty
boom.
That is a 14.
Okay.
Yeah. The investigation's back on.
It's akin to mutiny in
Right.
subtle ways, right?
Yeah.
Wherein Kim puts a hand on Ansel and pulls him back
Yeah.
and says, I've got a good, strong, brave crew. They're willing to risk their lives for this colony. Take a seat.
Yeah.
And pushes Ansel into a chair. She looks at the three of you, says, grab a puppeteer, have him put you in a pod, and we're going to send you over.
Let's get Hanson.
Okay. I think that's a good
That's it.
scene.
Yeah, it's a great scene.
We'll go through our question marks. Did someone act against the interests of the fleet or otherwise leave their reliability open to question?
No.
I'm going to say Ansel did.
Okay.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
that makes sense.
Right?
Yeah.
And social condition, I'm going to say that people view him as like a liability. Well, what's a good term for like?
He puts himself above everyone else, so he's he even above the company. I mean, when you think about it, he's more interested in his family.
Self-interested, yeah.
Self-interested.
To the detriment of others. This is sort of an inherent notion there. So then the next question is, did someone suffer a significant blow, social, emotional, or physical? I will say, like, I'll give Ansel a couple marks of harm for the shit he just went through. That was pretty nasty. The other thing here is, did someone do something exhausting, get given a truly daunting task, or have to do something horrible?
We're given a daunting task.
Yeah, but I think you guys have suffered enough pressure in
Okay.
stepping up. Like,
that's
we'll
true.
say that was part of that
Mm-hmm.
thing, is like putting your necks on the line, okay, in the middle of things. You also kind of stepped in it a little bit.
Yeah, we did.
Did the fleet, its people, or resources take a significant blow? Probably not. It's just a question. Did the fleet gain new resources or skilled people?
Maybe.
Maybe, TBD.
TBD. Yeah.
Was there a publicly visible event which was unsettling, scary, or indicative that the fleet is losing? I am going to say yes, that
Yes.
the
The reappearance
of Titan.
was not great.
And was the scene a major turning point?
No.
Yeah. No,
I
you don't think so?
I don't think yet.
Okay.
I don't know unless the
no,
military asserting 30 over the corporation.
What I might say is maybe it kind of
Reset
resets you back to zero a little bit, like because you were on the back leg a little bit.
And now we're doing something. We're
moving
we're
forward.
acting. We're
yeah.
moving forward. Yeah, that makes sense. So a baby step.
Yeah, that's where we'll pause it, right? We'll interrupt our story here and continue in our next communique. I was one of your players, John Holt. You can find me on Twitter at Lord Joho and on Instagram at board_ghost. Ken, where can people find you?
Hey, Board Ghosts, find me on Twitter at Burlingsbeard, my website of the same name. I am a freelance game master in the New York City area, so if you're looking for someone to run games for you or your friends, please do contact me. Also, I want to shout out Tuesdays at the Hinterlands, which is a great bar in South Brooklyn and Kensington, where games are run by some friends of the show. Check that out if you have a free Tuesday.
Mm-hmm. And Richard, where can people find you?
Hey, you can find me on Twitter at rroo. That's ARR_ROO. And I'm also a staff GM and teach basic GMing skills at the 20-sided store in Brooklyn.
All right. So,
Is there another product that you had that you want?
Yes, yeah. I soon have a in Codex Emerald, which will be available sometime this spring to the general public. It's already gone out to backers of the Gauntlet Codex. I have a game called Dark Designs in Verdigris.
So to find out more about all that great stuff, go to our website or go to the show notes, boardghost.com. To reach out to us, you can go find us on Twitter at BoardGhostWorld. You can go to our Patreon where you can get access to episodes early, episode art, and some how-to-play videos at patreon.com/BoardGhost. And we'd like to thank Pat Couples for our theme song and interlude music. You can find more about Pat at patcouples.tumblr.com or on his band's website, hotelsandhighways.com. If you're not alone in the void, share our stories. The more they are consumed, the truer they become.
Dying don't agree with me.